Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, let us learn about the solar system. As we all know, it is the most beautiful thing in the world. Even in the pictures, it looks very very beautiful, right? So here we go. The solar system is all the planets, moons, and other bodies that depend on the sun for their movement, light, and heat. The solar system may appear to be large, but within the universe, as compared to universe, it is only a tiny speck. Other solar systems have a large star like the sun that provides them with the same things. Let us talk about sun now. As you all know, sun is the sphere, right? It is a sphere. It is a star made up of burning gases. About 70% of the sun is hydrogen gas. Almost all the rest of it is helium gas. There are also tiny amounts of carbon, iron, magnesium, neon, nitrogen, oxygen, and silicon. These are all different elements you will learn later on. The sun is not a big star compared to others in the universe. However, about 1 million planets the size of the Earth could fit inside it. Can you imagine that the sun is that much big that 1 million Earths could fit inside it? The sun is believed to be about 5 billion years old. It has been burning since it was formed, and one day it will burn itself. However, scientists believe that it will be about another 5 billion years before that happens. Now, we are going to talk about solar flares. Solar flares are huge explosions on the sun that result in gases discharging into the atmosphere. They can interfere with satellites sent from the Earth. Now, the most beautiful thing, the solar winds. As you can see in the picture, it looks very beautiful, right? And it would be really luck to see it in real life. Solar winds occur when gas particles released from the sun enter the Earth's atmosphere. When they come into contact with gases in the Earth's atmosphere, they can cause spectacular light shows like the northern lights and southern lights. Now, Mercury. What is like it's a planet, right? The first planet. We all know that there are 8 planets: Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. First, there was also Pluto. You must have heard about that. But now it is considered as a dwarf planet. We are gonna talk about that soon. Planets are large spherical bodies that orbit a sun. There are 8 planets, as I told. Now, Mercury. Mercury is the closest planet to the sun. It is also the smallest planet. Mercury is so small and has so little gravity that it is virtually unable to hold on to its atmosphere. And its distance from the sun is 58 million. Its diameter is 4,878 kilometer. Gravity is 0.38 times that on Earth, and it has no moons. Let's move towards Venus, the second planet. The second planet is Venus. It is the hottest planet, although it's not the first planet, but it is the hottest planet. It has a very thick atmosphere that has made it hard for scientists to study the planet. Venus is the only planet that spins east to west on its axis. It is also the only planet that takes longer to spin all the way around its axis than it does to orbit the sun. In other words, its day is longer than its year. Venus is the closest planet to the Earth, but the reason why humans may one day land on Mars but could never land on Venus is because Venus is closer to the Sun than Mars and therefore is much too hot for humans to survive. And also, Venus also does not have any moon. Okay, Earth, the planet on which we live on, it is the only planet that supports life. It does. Why? Because of the presence of the water. It does so because of the presence of water, the makeup of the atmosphere, and the temperature. Water covers about 70% of the surface of the earth. The core of the earth is in liquid form. As we know, it has only one moon and 24 hours a day and 365.25 days is length of the year. Its diameter is 12,756 kilometer. Now, let's move towards Mars. Mars is the planet most similar to the Earth. Its temperature could support human life, though the lack of oxygen means humans would need their own supply. There is also ice at the caps and underground, which suggests there could have been water supporting some form of life sometime in the past. And it has two moons. Its gravity is zero point 0.4 times that on Earth. Its length of the day is 1.03 Earth days. And it has 687 Earth days. Okay? Means that on Earth, if there is 687 days, it would be year on the Mars, 1 year in Mars. Let's move towards Jupiter now. It is the biggest planet in the solar system. It has a huge red spot about 40,000 kilometer wide. As you can see, it's over here, right? This spot is actually a storm that has been active for several hundred years. Jupiter has three rings around it that may be caused by dust. And it has at least 67 moons. Let's move towards Saturn now. Saturn is surrounded by rings made from ice and rock. These rings, these rings each orbit the planet at different speeds, while Saturn can be seen from the Earth without a telescope. The rings can only be seen with a telescope, and it has at least 62 moons. Let's move towards Uranus now. It lies on its side as it orbits the Sun. This could be because of a collision with another planet sized body or because of a moon leaving Uranus' gravitational pull and dragging the planet over as it left. Uranus has the coldest surface temperature of all the planets, and it has at least 27 moons. Its gravity is double that on Earth, and 17 hours 8 minutes. When the 17 hours 8 minutes are completed, the day is over in Uranus. Neptune. Neptune's existence was assumed before it was discovered. Scientists were puzzled by the way Uranus sometimes drifted from a natural orbit and believed that there must be another planet influencing its movement. They looked for and discovered the existence of Neptune. It has at least 13 moons. Let's talk about Pluto now. Pluto was considered a planet before, but scientists now refer to it as a dwarf planet because Pluto is small, just 2,300 kilometers in diameter, and scientists have discovered similar sized bodies within its orbit. Let's move towards the moon now. Moons are large bodies that orbit the planets. They are called natural satellites. There are two types of satellites, natural satellites and artificial satellites. So, artificial satellites are man made objects that are sent into space. They orbit the Earth collecting information. Some collect information about weather. Some have technology that helps people in cars on Earth find their way from one place to another. Some receive and send signals so that, for example, images and sounds of a test cricket match on one side of the world can be almost live in another part of the world. And natural satellite is moon, right? Every moon is natural satellite. They are made up of rock. Mercury and Venus have no moons. Earth has one moon, while some planets have more than 60 moons. Astronomers expect to find more moons orbiting some of the planets furthest away from Earth. Now, let's talk about the Earth's moon. Scientists believe that the moon is the same age as the Earth and may even have been part of the Earth before a massive collision between Earth and another body. We measure our months by the time it takes for the moon to orbit the Earth. However, there are two ways that this is measured. One way involves measuring the time it takes for the moon to travel right around the Earth. This is known as a sidereal month and it is 27.322 days. The other way involves measuring the time it takes for the moon to pass through a complete cycle of its phases. This is known as a synodic month or a lunar month. It is determined by the amount of sunlight visible on the moon from Earth and takes 29.531 days. The amount of light visible from the Earth is not light that is produced by the moon, but is reflected from the sun by the moon. Now, let's move towards the Mars moon. Mars has two moons, Deimos and Phobos. They are very small for moons. Phobos is 22.2 km across, while Diomedes is only 12.6 km across. They are also oddly shaped. It is believed that they may once have been asteroids but ended up within Mars' field of gravity. Jupiter moons. Jupiter has at least 67 moons. Most of them are very small, but there are four large ones that are known as Galilean moons. This is because they were first discovered by the Italian astronomer Galileo Galilei. Their names are Lo, Europa, Ganymede, and Callisto. Ganymede is the largest known moon in the solar system. Now, Saturn's moon. It has at least 62 moons. The largest, Titan, is the second largest moon in the solar system. The smallest are less than 1 kilometer across. So, next time you walk 1 kilometer, you can proudly say you have done the equivalent of walking from one side of a moon to the other. Now, Uranus moon. Uranus has at least 27 moons, five of which are considered large for moons. Because Uranus is so far from the Earth, most of these moons have only been identified since 1987, 1985, when spacecraft began flying past the planet. Neptune's moon. Neptune has at least 13 moons, the largest of which is named Triton. Triton was identified just a few days after Neptune was first identified. However, because of the great distance between Earth and Neptune, it took more than 100 years before any other moons were spotted. Let me tell you an amazing scientific fact. The tides of the oceans on Earth are caused by the moon's